it going? How's it going, everybody? Hang on one second here. I just realized I was about to do the stupid thing I always do and pull. Now we're good. How's it going, everybody? So, if you saw my Cosm and Effect video, I went to the Church of Celestial Mirrors, or the Chapel of Celestial Mirrors, which is or Sacred Mirrors, excuse me, Cosm, which is Alex and his wife, Alex and shoot, her name starts with an A. The Gray, anyway, the Gray family, right? And so they got their museum in the upper, like, mid-lower New York area, I guess. It's, museum is about an hour and 15 minutes from here, something like that. And so I took a decent amount of footage. I was there as a social outing with a couple of friends, and so I kind of took it, I just took some footage, just filmed around the exhibit floor, took a handful of pictures of favorite pieces, and so I got a bunch of shit on this phone that I need to look over, and, I may have to crop some stuff, or make an edit here and there, I typically... when I'm in public spaces like that, I try to minimize the amount of times where you see other people and things like that, because they may not care to be seen, right? And it wasn't a heavy, busy day at the museum. I guess a cold day at the beginning of March is not like heavy-duty activity time, right? So there's more to do, and I plan on coming back in not too long a period of time, because it's not expensive to go, and it's not a long trip, and there's lots of things up there. It's not in the middle of nowhere, so you can do all right with yourself in that area, and it's not that far from where I have friends and other things I've gone and done. So Cosm is very cool. It's a big work in progress, as there's supposed to be there's still parts of the exhibit that are developing, I guess, and there's outside parts and inside parts, and there's also the main building itself. The main building itself, they're working on an art pattern for the facade, which is going to have the many double faces kind of going around it in a white and gold kind of panel kind of thing. It looks awesome. It looks fucking awesome. But they got the double doors and the entrance, the inner foyer with the Hall of Mirrors and a certain kind of magic circle on the bottom and the top. It was cool. And then there's the four-headed figure on top. I don't know any of the Alex Gray vernacular. I don't know if there's a name for that head, which is part of his motif. He must have names for these things, right? Because there's all sorts of different pieces inside the museum that have their repeating themes. You've seen most of Alex Gray's stuff just all over every perceivable part of the internet. Everybody picks an Alex Gray painting for their goddamn freaking thumbnails, so on and so forth. Right? He's become one of the most important artists in spiritual science. I don't think spiritual science would be the same without his aesthetic taste, right? I saw that, Alex he doesn't just have a handful of pieces that have like, oh, here's like all the Vedic stuff I'm into, and stuff, and here's all the Native American stuff I'm into. It's grasping for a certain aspect of the world, you know, mostly through the major quote religions, right? So, like, there's all this symbolism in the chapel itself, which is the main floor of the second level. This big, wide open area with these freaking massive, slightly larger than life size pieces of that show, people with their anatomy, and it's kind of like going through the phases of life. Which I believe the celestial mirrors are, or sacred mirrors is an oracle deck also. So each one of those mirrors is also a card that you can buy in the gift shop in a deck. And so you can kind of use that to say what part of your spiritual body are the fates saying that you need to pay attention to and work on, right? So yeah, naturally, it's and it's the Grey's personal prerogative, right? But it's just like it's always weird when you see something that starts being inclusive of X, Y, and Z things, and then you notice what's not missing, or what isn't there, right? And it's indicative of the product of the white man believing that he's got nothing, right? The white man's got nothing but Christianity, which they adopted from the Middle East by force. Adopted by force. Right? If like, whether you're white or not, because the Greys I know are part, like, I think his wife is Jewish, right? So, like, it's all good. It's all good. But, I mean, Judeo-Christianity, you know how I feel about that. I mean, as far as in context of them as just people, as such, artists channeling the thing, right? But I'm looking here, and I'm just like, man, I can see how there wouldn't be, because of where all of consciousness fucking was, where this art was cultivated, in our world at that time. But there is some awesome, self-evidently wild metaphysical aesthetic to Celtic art, archaic Celtic art, and archaic Norse art, and Slavic art and whatnot. It's just like with everything that he's incorporating from, like, the East and the West, I would hope that he discovers some of these other cultures and finds a place for it in Chasm, finds a place for it in his sanctuary, right? Because if he's going to adopt all these traditions, like, continue to see the beautiful things, right? It's all about making it your own, obviously, right? Because regardless of where the Greys take their ideas from, they are They are completely making it their own thing, and yet you can totally see what it is at the same time in varying degrees, right? And it's recognizing what these others do, because because we've been living in this quote anti-white time, right? Or that time is kind of coming to an end. But the point being is that, like, this anti-white time we're living in was in the secret undercurrent of the culture, right? In certain circles, and the target group chosen for the first kind of like hit against the quote white people are the ones that are the most horrid in character, right? People people that have their biblical bigotries that have led to horrible government policies and things of this nature, right? This is where, like, going after, like, the white Christian straight man conservative shit comes. They're trying to nail it right on the head in this particular way. Something that was kind of more of what we thought was a sarcastic joke on Comedy Central or something, right? It turned it turned into this, oh no, this joke is very real to us. And then all the comedians disappeared, and all the people that just liked to tell anti-white jokes that weren't funny just showed up, right? Because they were completely off base, because most people don't know that shit in their world, right? Like, nobody, they have to be pulled out of the fucking woodworks. Otherwise, most white people aren't deserving of any of that. That's the fucking problem, is that eventually you run out of fucking red herrings and scapegoats and straw men, and then you just have to actually start fucking going after innocent people right in fucking front of you, right? And now you don't even have an argument of why somebody's bad, really, other than they're inherently bad because you've drawn all this social context that doesn't have anything inherently bad separated, and then even put together still doesn't fucking cross the mark, because you're still missing the actual elements, because at the end of the day, these people, they didn't do anything wrong, and they're not exactly agreeable, and it's a little over the top like that, right? So this is supposed to be the point of art, right? There's supposed to be this silent voice coming through the art, whether on an individual or some sort of cultural level, right? That's the that's the big part of it, right? It's this art that tells you that conveys a message, that conveys an emotional point. It's emotional information is in good, proper, well done art, such as the Greys' art. And I hope that they see things out of worlds that are being neglected, right? Because I would not think white men have a culture fucking too, right? All that started to make way more sense to me as I started actually looking into what all of this white paganism stuff was about, and then realizing, oh, wait a minute, should I be more? Like, is this going to be about more than me just learning about it? Is this actually right? Because I think to myself, all right, like, I'm part French, I'm part Italian, and I think I'm sort of Scottish or something like that. Like, that's all I'm thinking. And I'm like, okay, I suppose maybe I've got some Celtic maybe going on. I don't know. And then as you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, you start to realize, oh wait, so the Germanics were like this and practically the same thing as the Norse, and then these guys counted as Norse even though they're British, and then eventually you find out, oh wait, I'm a fucking Norman. Oh, I have a claim to this. Oh, this is my fucking shit, right? And so then I realize, oh, okay, I've got a Norse ancestry that lets me lay claim to to this kind of heathenism, and it's up to me in my personal character how I have a relationship with that. And to know that the consequences of my actions will be more apparent to those that see me than perhaps I see myself when it comes to these things. Because what does it mean when somebody finds out you're something that doesn't fit the way they always viewed and heard and understood a certain kind of person to be, etc., right? So, of course, there isn't a massive tradition of doctrine, right? This is all being like reemerged out of largely a lot of museums, anthropology, and archaeology, and things like that, as opposed to these other religions, that are up now that are part of the Alex Grey repertoire, like Jainism and the Hindu, Jewish, Wiccan represented, for fuck's sake. Native American and South American cultures, maybe an aspect of Chinese. But these are all of the elements that are in this fucking mix. And I'm just like, okay, like odds are, you love all this stuff as I do. That's beautiful. Find love for indigenous white shit. Is my point, right? Find love for it. There's got to be something there. Stop hating yourself, right? Why are we scared of white man throwing off the shackles of Abrahamic infrastructure and being embraced in true universal infrastructure, and thus being able to find everything within it, especially your ancestral background, so you feel connected because you're not dismissing who you are in the process. You're becoming more harmonized with who you are, which has a correspondence to the harmony of other people harmonized with who they are. Because those harmonies end up fixing a bunch of things. And do we transcend the foolishness of our leaders? Or are the leaders really listening to us and we're that terrible, despite the fact that they also lie to us? It's quite silly when you think about it. Okay, I'm gonna give myself some me time because I got here really early. I'll catch you guys later.